Ooh wee. And that conversation is about Ice Cube proposing his contract with America to the Trump administration. I had no idea that there even was a contract with Black America constructed by Ice Cube. Now, listen, you don't got to be, I'm no fool. I went and looked at the 22 page contract, and I know Ice Cube did not do this. But if he's the front man, he's the front man. I have no problem with that. And I encourage you to go check out the contract. Actually, there's some things on there that I completely agree with. We're talking about this idea of reparations. We're talking about equity. We're talking about equality across different areas. So I haven't read the entire 22 page proposal. I doubt I will. However, I think the idea behind it is one that's noble and that we should all be in support of. It's been out since July 23rd, I believe, is when it dropped on the website. And you could just Google Ice Cube's contract with Black America. When we talk about, some of the ideas behind it, these are things that Black folk have been asking for years, right? When I say for years, we're talking about decades. We're talking about centuries, if we're going to be honest about it. And so, no, I'm not mad at him for supporting this contract and being the representative of this contract. And so when news came down yesterday that he met with the Trump administration, who has their own platinum plan for Black America, have no idea where this whole platinum plan name came from. Right, I have no idea. I heard somebody say that we don't wear platinum anymore, so why is it considered the platinum plan? But nonetheless, when I heard that he met with Trump's administration to promote the contract with Black America, I automatically jumped off the roof. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that as a mental health advocate. I automatically was taken aback. Because I'm like, what the hell is he going to meet with Trump for to discuss anything? Or maybe not even Trump, but his administration, his representatives, his goons. What do we gain from that exactly? And so I automatically, like so many people, I got Twitter fingers. But in my case, it's Instagram fingers. I went to Instagram and I post this GIF of a Black man who had clown makeup on. Because those were my initial thoughts when it came to Ice Cube. This muck clown. Doesn't he know what Trump has and more importantly has not done for the Black community? What he's represented to the Black community for not only the last 4 years, but the last 30 years, when we talk about the exonerated 5, when we talk about the last 50 to 60 years, from the various complaints related to fair housing. This person has showed time and time again that they do not care about Black America, let alone any contract. Any type of plan that he might have related to us is not necessarily for us. It's merely a show. Right? It's merely a show because he recognizes that he needs the Negro vote. And so I understood the frustration expressed by so many. Folks started calling Ice Cube a sellout. Cube a sellout. Cube a sellout. But maybe I had to sleep on it. Because when I slept on it, and I started to listen to some people who I respect, it's like, Cube's not necessarily a sellout. Ice Cube is who we thought he was. Right? He is who we thought he was. And when I say that, listen, I'm not going to pretend like I'm some Ice Cube NWA aficionado. I know maybe a couple songs from each. But when we talk about who Ice Cube has been, he's been a frequent discusser of violence against black and brown men. He's been misogynist against black women. He's always been anti-Semitic. In my book, especially the first two, when it comes to your own community, you're a sellout. So you can't become something that you've already been. And yes, I know he made Are We There Yet? And Are We There Yet Too? And he ingratiated himself as a family man to not only Black America, but to America in general. But has his politics ever changed? Has his politics ever changed? What make us think that his politics have changed? Who do we think he's been around to help him change his perspective, to enlighten him? We know he supports Farrakhan, right? That hasn't changed. So that only reinforces some of his thoughts. And we've heard his music throughout the years, not only from NWA, but up until present day. We know what some of the content has been. Very sellout-ish. And so my thing is, how can you become something you've already been? Now, yes, you can be a sellout and still do good things for the community. They're not mutually exclusive. You can be a sellout and still be the representative of a contract with Black America. But when we sit back and think about it, right? And I had to ask myself, who put Cube in this position to be the representative for Black America? What has he done to deserve that? Because he could rap? Right? Because he could make some family-friendly movies? Who made him the authority on all things Negro? I didn't get a census person that came out and said, okay, this is your list of Negroes who can represent you. You got Ice Cube, right? You got John Legend. You got Idris Elba, and you got Farrakhan. I didn't see that list. But somehow here we are. Hence the reason why I'm taken aback, and I'm wondering why people are up in arms. Maybe it's the representation related. Why people are frustrated. What it represents. Like our quote unquote elite are out here wilding. Right? Who does have some type of influence. But does Ice Cube really have influence within a community? Are we running and jumping because Ice Cube says to do it? I turn 37 in 2 weeks, and I can give you an emphatic hell no. Ice Cube has not influenced my life in any aspect at all. He's not Jay-Z. He didn't take me from wearing the throwback jerseys that my mama paid a couple $100s for to rock and wear button ups. He didn't set any trends over here or have me reevaluate life over here. So again, who gave Ice Cube this authority to be a leader? Boyce Watkins? Again, who are the people that you are surrounding yourself with, right? To make you think that his views have changed since 88, 89, 90. Boyce Watkins ain't it. We know his misogynistic, homophobic, hating self. I had to end up blocking him after he and I had a back and forth a few years back. Because everybody don't get it. Does that mean that this idea of building black wealth is meaningless? Not at all. Right? What do they say about a broken clock? It can be right twice a day, something like that. So Cube had these posts, and I'm gonna show them in succession. And so the first one was facts. I put out the CWBA. Both parties contacted me. Dem said we'll address the CWBA after the election. Trump campaign made some adjustments to their plan after talking to us about the CWBA. Initially, I was upset with that. I was frustrated by that. Again, why would you meet with him? But then I had to take a step back. Right? I had to get out of my feelings. I had to get out of my social media feelings, because we understand that social media is this peer pressure latent place to be. I heard somebody say, it's either you're going to come at somebody else or they're going to come at you, right? And you don't want to be the person that they come at. So you're going to hop in on whatever the trending topic is. We also know that forget it, all of social media is attention seeking in nature. Soon as you hit that send button, you are seeking attention. What type of attention? Why are you seeking attention, right? And so we know that some of the responses to Cube, some people just want to keep up with the Joneses. And so initially, without me giving it some critical thought, it was me partially keeping up with the Joneses. I'm being honest. And this is why you have to inhale, exhale. You have to think. You have to allow yourself to sit with things at times. And I thought about it. If I'm Ice Cube, if I'm Phil Roundtree, if I'm anybody else, and I felt like I had something that could benefit my people, why wouldn't I share it? No matter who it is, why wouldn't I share it? Right? Am I supposed to keep it to myself? Even if I know that the person who I'm sharing it with could give a damn. That's just more data, right? Because imagine if Cube had went and his attempts were rebuffed. You might say, I know what a lot of people would say. First, why would you go there to try to have a conversation with the Trump administration? But then another group would say, listen, this is another reminder of them not giving a damn about black people. So we would use it, we would weaponize it for sure. And so if I think I have something good to help the community, to help people that look like me. And these are my options. These people are in charge. Why wouldn't I go and have this conversation? In the next tweet, right? He said, listen, the Dems said that they'll address it after the election. My question is why? Why not address it now? See what's happening here, right? We start to ask the question. Well, maybe the Republicans are pandering for votes. But why does the Democrats automatically think they have us in the bag to where they can neglect reviewing a contract with Black America until after the election? What if you don't win? Does it not matter? Is it not valid? Why not address it now? Why aren't you pandering for our votes more than you already are doing with having Charlie Clips doing rap battles about Joe Biden, or having Kamala retweeting it and responding to Meg Thee Stallion? That's pandering in nature, correct? So again, once we get out of our feelings, if we were in that situation, isn't it our obligation, no matter what happens on that end, we can't control what happens at that end, but say, listen, I have information, I'm going to bring it to you. And if you choose not to use it, then again, and if you don't use it, like you haven't used it for decades on decades, we're going to respond accordingly. But again, we get so caught up in wanting to call people coons and call them sellouts because of actions like this. Even if we know who people are, do we disengage from the process? That's the question. Do we disengage completely? Even though I understand that people will not have a come to God moment, especially when we talk about this idea of politics. You was who you was before you got here. In the words of Sean Carter. And so again, I had to take a step back. I had to think about it. Then came this next tweet. Black progress is a bipartisan issue. When we created the contract with Black America, we expected to talk to both sides of the aisle. Talking truth to power is part of the process. I completely agree. However, when we talk about this bipartisan and about who gives a damn about Black people and who've shown it historically that they don't give a damn, even to present day, where in Texas they're suppressing votes by limiting the availability for polling in various communities. Mysterious wires are getting cut in polling locations in Virginia where people can't register. Where in Florida they don't want felons to vote, ex-felons. Where in Georgia they're pulling out all the measures for people not to vote, to make it difficult, where they're standing outside for 6 and 7 hours. Where they're questioning the validity and the reliability of mail-in votes. That's been one side. That's been counterproductive to our progress. So in theory, I understand when he says that Black progress is a bipartisan issue. But in application, it's only been an issue for one party. And if we're honest, it's really been a non-issue for both parties. Right? And so when we get to this third and final tweet of O'Shea Jackson Sr., he says he's responding to somebody's post that says, my hip hop hero, Ice Cube, is working with the dark side. Question, why is Ice Cube your hero? Your hip hop hero? He hasn't made meaningful music in 30 years. We throw around this term hero kind of loosely. Yeah, you like some of his lyrics, some of his wordplay. Maybe it resonated. But I think that speaks to a bigger issue that exists, right? That we're looking for Ice Cube, an entertainer, to be a hero in any capacity. He says, I haven't felt this low since Kobe passed. Heartbreaking. Cube, I'm not sure you understood how much we value your voice. Do we? Why? Why are we valuing Ice Cube's voice in 2020? Who are the gatekeepers that said Ice Cube has the voice? Again, I didn't fill that out along with the census. I ain't fill out the census shit either. He goes on to say, and when we see you jumping the shark, it kills us, especially in 2020. Cube responds, every side is the dark side for us here in America. They're all the same until something changes for us. They all lie and they all cheat, but we can't afford not to negotiate with whoever is in power, or our condition in this country will never change. Our justice is bipartisan. We can't afford to negotiate with whoever is in power. When have we ever had the leverage to actually negotiate with whomever is in power? Given the various laws that are in place, the constitutions that exist, the overt threats of violence and covert threats of violence, the systemic racism, when have we ever had leverage to negotiate with anybody? Right? When? They say we have the leverage when we go to the polls. That's what some of the people who I respect say, who are in politics. Then if that's the case, I live in the democratic city of Philadelphia, where poverty continues to run rampant. You dig me? Where white gentrification, there's an influx of occurring. Where the schools continue to be dilapidated. Where in the midst of a pandemic, children cannot learn because they do not have access to internet. If we take it to a global scale where blacks have 1/10 the wealth of a white family. This existed before Trump. This existed during Obama, during Bush II, during Clinton, during Bush the First. Things have progressively gotten worse. But they say leverage your voice with your vote. This when you hit them with the Ricky Waters. For who? For what? Who's benefiting from this? I know I'm not. And yes, we may be able to point out some incremental progress that has been made in areas. That's when you get the golf clap. But if we're talking about change, they not looking to a contract with Black America. The one thing about Tom Joyner, whenever he ended his show, They would always say, and maybe it was Tavis Smiley on there. I'm not sure who it was. When you make Black America better, you make all of America better. They haven't made Black America better. So again, what are we talking about here? Is this just misplaced anger and frustration? Where we can jump just from anybody who's associated with the campaign, anybody who's associated with the quote unquote right or conservatives, anybody who has any type of conversation with them. It could be the pizza man. Why the hell are you delivering pizza to the White House, fool? Don't you know that Trump hate black and brown people? It's wasted energy. It's wasted energy. All you are doing are getting yourself riled up for something that you cannot control. You voicing your displeasure, okay, makes sense, because again, community matters, and we all need to, and belongingness matters, so we all need to feel like we belong to something. We've adopted this us versus them mentality, which has always existed, and I understand why it's existed. But has that served you? Right? Has that served you, getting upset with every situation that shows itself? So no, I no longer look at Ice Cube funny. I look at myself for making that post yesterday on Instagram, and I look at everybody else screaming to the hilltops how much Ice Cube ain't ish. I look at y'all funny. Because again, in the words of Sean Carter, you was who you was before they got here.